Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Colton of RNC, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use your Cricut to address your Christmas card envelopes. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is you want to determine the length and width of your envelope. And it may be on the package already when you order them or purchase them at the store. But if you forget or you lost that information, just take a tape measure, measure the height. These are about 6, and the width. These are about 8.5. Once you have your envelope measured, what you want to do is open Cricut Design Space and start a new project. So I'm going to click on the plus sign down here in My Projects. What you want to do first is create a template for your envelope. So go to Shapes and choose the square. And then to change this to a rectangle with the dimensions of your envelope, you want to go down to the little padlock in the corner, click that to unlock it, and then go up to Size and enter your dimensions. So I have an 8.5 width and 6 for my height. Now I'm going to reduce my percentage down here so I can see the whole envelope. Since I'm going to be adding text, I'm going to change the color to white so that I can see the writing. So here's the template for our envelope. What we want to do next is add our address. So we're going to go to Text. Your text box will appear, and this is where you type your address that you're going to be sending this to. You're going to want to center this, and then we're going to want to change the font. So I'm going to go up here, and since this is going to be written instead of cut, we're going to go to Filter and select Writing Fonts. And then you have all of these fonts to choose from that have a writing component. I've already searched through these and decided on Cigar Box, so I'm going to select that. And that will change my text. Now at this point, you just want to resize this to fit on your envelope however you want it to look. And I found that with writing, you want to space the letters out a little bit more. So go up to letter space, and you can just increase this so that your letters are more legible and don't bleed together. And if you're going to use a thicker pen, then you want to really increase that space. And you can play with testing it out on regular computer paper before you commit to your envelopes. The other thing you can change is the amount of space between the lines. So if you want those closer together, you can just go up to line space and reduce that as much or as little as you would like. So if you just want to choose a font and keep everything the same size, you would be done at this point. You would just need to center this by selecting the text, then press the Shift key on your computer, select the envelope, go up to a line, first center horizontally, then vertically, and then you want to attach these. Now at this point, if you would like to do one envelope at a time, you would go to Make It. And since this thinks it's going to be cutting out and we don't want it to cut our envelope, we would take the blade out and just have the pen in our machine, which I'll show you when I'm ready to cut. So then you would go to Continue, and when you're finished that one, you would have to come back and change this all to your next address by detaching, clicking on this and changing it to your next address. The other option you have is to create all of your envelopes before you do any writing. So what you would want to do is copy this. I'm going to hit Command C, Command V to make a copy. I'm going to detach it, and then I would change this address to someone else. recenter and attach, and then I would change the color of each envelope. So each address would have a different color. Then when I go to make it, it's going to sort each envelope onto a different mat based on the color. So then I'll have all of my envelopes ready to go. The problem I found with this is that if you get too many envelopes in one project, it can start to overload the software and you can experience some technical difficulties. So you may want to create more than one project. Maybe stick to about 10 envelopes per project. Just write down your font size and your spacing if you want them all to be the same. Another option you have would be to make your design a little bit fancier. So what you could do, instead of having everything be the same size and font, is you could do the family name separate from the address. So you want to do two different text boxes. And then what you can do is you can have the address be a little bit smaller and simpler. And you can have the family name be larger. And you could even do a different font. So if you want to go up here, don't forget to filter for writing. And then if you want to make the name maybe something a little more script-like, I think I have one that I like actually called Babette. And if you want it to look like you've written this yourself in cursive, you can decrease the letter space until the letters connect. Might want to leave a little space between that first letter if they're too close. You could even do the family name in a thicker pen and then the street address in a thinner pen. What you'd want to do if you have two separate boxes is select the first one, hold down Shift, select the next one, and then center those. Then you would attach them together, hold down Shift and select your envelope, and then align them and attach. The other thing you could do to make these a little bit fancier is you could add some drawn images. So we're going to go over here to images, and maybe you want to add some holly. And since these are set up to cut and we're going to be writing, you want to find something that has a very simple outline. Something like this where it's all solid. And I'll actually select two to show you the difference of the solid versus getting sort of a double outline. So I'm going to select that one I like, maybe this one. So these are set up to cut, so what you want to do is click on the scissors and change that to right. So if it's a simple solid shape, it'll change it to just a simple outline. If it's something more like this, when you change it to writing, you get this double outline, which could look cool, but I think I'm going to stick with something more simple. So then what you could do is take this and resize it and turn it to whatever angle you want. And you could add that maybe around the family name. And if you want one on both sides, you can copy by going to Command-C, Command-V. I'm working on an apple. And then you can flip this so that it's facing the other way. And then you would just want to make sure that you attach your images as well. so that everything comes out together. If you want to make the family name in a bolder marker, maybe the calligraphy marker, what you need to do is you need to change that setting. So everything has to be detached. And then you would click on the family name, and over here where you have the writing tool, you would go there and you would choose your marker from all these options. So if you want to use the calligraphy, then you would click on that. And if you want the street address and the images to be in the same marker, you would pick your thinner marker and just make sure that those are set on the same one. And then when you're ready to go, just reattach everything so that it all comes out together. Okay. Now the Cricut offsets your design by a tiny bit, so you might have to play around with the placement of your envelope, but you want to put it down about a quarter, I think that's about a quarter inch from the edge, just to account for that offsetting to get your address in the center. So you're just going to put your envelope onto your mat. You can set this to cardstock or paper. We're not going to be cutting, so the material setting doesn't really matter too much. Now, it does think that we're going to be cutting out that square for the envelope, and we don't actually want to cut our envelope. So I'm going to take my blade out of the clamp, out of clamp B. It'll think it's in there, it'll think it's cutting, but since there's nothing in there, nothing will happen. And then you're going to load your marker into clamp A. So I guess it's going to draw the ivy first. Okay, so I'm going to press the blinking arrow. I've got my pen in, and I'm going to press the blinking C to get started. So it's first drawing my holly, which I had set to the smaller pen along with the address. And now it's telling me to change the pen because I have the family name set to my thicker calligraphy pen. So I'm going to load that and then press the blinking C once again. And now it thinks it's cutting the envelope out, but since there's no blade, it's just gonna go through the movements. And then you unload. And that's what your envelope is going to look like, and you can go back and change this to your next recipient and continue.